getting ready for our third bout of the night. Zach Flessas making his way to the cage, fighting for Rufus Sport, and also a 0-1 record for Flessas in the very early part of his amateur career. These guys seem to be, if you take a look at the Carbon World Health tail of the tape, very evenly matched. Rodney making his debut here tonight, as we'll get a chance to talk about Rodney Alexander next.
Next up, his opponent, Rodney Alexander.
Entering the cage right now, or making his way to it, is one Rodney Alexander. I gotta tell you, I'm friends with Rodney on Facebook, one of the more colorful characters you will ever meet or follow on Facebook. Easily a daily laugh out of Rodney each and every day on Facebook. A great follow if you ever get a chance, and I am rooting hard for Rodney. I know he has trained hard for this. This is something that he has thought about for a while, and he is excited to go in there to the cage for the first time in his AMI career. So we're gonna see that next. Rodney Alexander, Zach Flessas. Let's go to the cage now.
Ladies and gentlemen, our third amateur bout of the evening is a featherweight contest scheduled for 3 rounds. Introducing first this man, fighting out of the Harley-Davidson of Madison, blue corner. He stands in at 5'9" tall. He weighed in at 145 1/2 pounds. He hails from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and represents Rufus Sport, Zach Flessas. His opponent, this man, fighting out of the Coliseum Bar, red corner. He also stands in at 5'9" tall and weighed in at 145 ready pounds. He hails right here from Madison, Wisconsin, and is making his amateur debut representing the Chosen Few. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the cage, Renegade Rodney Alexander.
You know, it's sometimes hard to see when you're watching the bouts on Channel 57, the size of the crowd, how electric the crowd can get. Rodney, for a guy who's making his debut, has got quite the following and quite the support here for his first fight. So everybody excited here in what is becoming a packed house tonight at the Monona Terrace for Chosen Few 12. As we take a look at Rodney and what he wants to do, he's looking for an early takedown. Shot the leg and got it as Rodney gets on top and tries to gain side control early on. And now getting on top there. So Rodney doing a good job of getting his guy down early.
Now, Gerald, training at Rufus Sport with Zach, what are his strengths on his back right now? You see he's working either a triangle or an arm bar right here. How good is he off his back?
You know, he's an amateur, so everything's still a work in progress, but he's not bad off his back. Right now, he's definitely not in a good position as we see Rodney take him out. He's got to start shrimping and find a way to get up from here. And now he tries to get up, but he gives up the back. He's got to keep turning into that cage and try to reverse this position.
Alexander on top now, landed a few blows and a little ground and pound kind of an action. Now both fighters back to their feet and swinging a little wildly here, but Rodney getting a kick in as doing some inside work, and now they're back to the mat right here. And a face guard for one Flessas. Zach Flessas, again, out of Rufus Sport. And both guys seem to be pretty comfortable in going down to the mat.
You know, Zach looked pretty comfortable earlier when he had a little more distance. He landed 2 nice punches, but now he's kind of been locked up with Rodney. And I feel like Rodney is definitely pushing the issue of grappling. He wants to be connected to Zach. I think if Zach wants to have a better chance, he needs a little more space to utilize his striking. Rodney doing what he can to stay glued to Zach right now, definitely wants him back on the mat where he can do some more damage.
And you could tell by Rodney's chin position when they were in that initial striking, the way his head would flash back, that he definitely is as comfortable on the feet. But it looks like both these guys are willing to pretty much go anywhere. But as far as Gerald's observation, Rodney definitely wants to keep the grappling, although I don't see that he is the stronger grappler at this point.
Alexander landing a couple knees, now going to the kicks, and slipping down is Flessas.
Rich, that kick just missed.
Yeah, we've seen Zach miss 2 head kicks. If he kicked a little more vertically, that is to say, trying to make more of a straight line from the floor to the head, he might be able to catch him on the way and putting a little too much arc on his kicks right now. But Rodney, nonetheless, doing a good job of getting out of the way of taking any significant damage.
Rodney caught a right hand to the side of the face that backed him up, but he's quickly in on Flessas again, where it seems like he wants to be. Lost the grip there and caught a right to the side of the head for his troubles.
And if I'm in Zach's corner, I'm telling him keep throwing those high kicks because Rodney has absolutely no defense on either side for those head kicks.
Yeah, those definitely are working for Zach, and he seems to be landing that lead hook pretty well as well. So I have him look for those long strikes, long punches, and keep it on the feet.
Well, we finally made it to a first round here tonight and into the second round. How about that? Good action in the first. We'll see what we got stored in the second here on 57 Sports. Got a chance to take a look at some of the action from round number 1. Pretty spirited round, both guys exchanging damage here in the first.
I like the work that Flessas did from the bottom here. He definitely kept his hips moving, kept Rodney in a lot of trouble, and allowed for the stand-up that's going to happen after Rodney takes his back. As Gerald said, Flessas did a great job turning into the cage, which allowed him to get up and actually get in kind of a control position while he was grappling.
Flessas seemed in a little bit of trouble there, was able to get out of it and probably got the better of Alexander in round number 1. We'll see what both guys are able to do here in the second round, at least for Alexander making his cage debut. He's getting some good experience in there.
And even though Rodney had that initial takedown, was in some top control for a while, I think the way Zach ended that first round with the striking, I'm going to give that first round to Zach. Definitely more damage, more striking, more points landed.
Right. Obviously, I'm a little biased, but I'm going to have to agree with you there, Chris. I had it 10-9 for Zach. Rodney came out real strong, but I think that just speaks to Zach having some hard rounds in the gym and being used to being in bad spots. But now we see Rodney trying to turn the tide here, landing a nice straight left down the middle.
Yeah, and what Zach isn't doing is he's not hiding the kicks. He has to do more combinations, which throwing the left and then the kick or doing a couple low kicks to get Rodney's eye level down. And right now, Rodney's in a great position on Zach.
Yeah, and then inflicting some damage here, much to the delight of the faithful at Monona Terrace, as now getting flipped over as Rodney's going to keep control right in front of us here, as Alexander having a better round 2 than he did round 1.
I like how smart Zach was, getting as close to the cage as he could. You could tell that roll was all about that, limiting the space that Rodney has to work on his back.
You can see Rodney's doing a really good job controlling here. He's putting a lot of weight on the leg, a lot of forward pressure, and he's controlling the wrist, pulling it across Zach's body. That makes it very, very difficult to mount any sort of offense or create any space to try and get up.
And some blood coming off of the head of Zach Flessas now, as Alexander has him right up against the cage post directly in front of us and continues to inflict some damage with that left hand. Alexander making some inroads here.
Great job from Alexander, learning from that first round and what happened to him. He's definitely, like Gerald said, just kept that weight on, kept control. He's only striking when he feels comfortable enough to. He can ride this round out doing a ton of damage to Zach just like this.
Right, Zach right here, he needs to use that cage again. He needs to walk up that side of that cage, get his legs free, and start getting back to the center of the cage to get a little space so he can utilize his striking game to kind of stifle Rodney's grappling.
Rodney continues to have control here in the second round, using that left hand once again into the side of the head of Flessas as he's in a bit of trouble right now. The ref taking a look. I don't think it's that much damage right there, but Alexander definitely getting the better of Flessas as the round continues.
And as we've seen from Al Wickers, who's our referee tonight, he's probably reffed more fights than any other referee in Wisconsin, very experienced guy. He's not going to let amateurs get hurt. So with that first armbar, there wasn't a tap, but the arm was so hyperextended, he wasn't going to allow it to go farther. And then with the second fight, the TKO, he saw the damage. So Zach's going to need to pay attention here. He's going to have to keep moving because he's in a lot of trouble. Al is looking in pretty close right now.
Wow, great shots here as you get the close-ups right into high def, and holy cow, can't look much better than that. A round that seemed to be dominated by Rodney Alexander. We will go to a third and final round next here in the Chosen Few Fighting Championships, number 12 on 57 Sports.
That's right, Maxim
We're taking a look at some of the replays
finalists.
going on right now, and it seems like Rodney Alexander was a quick study as he was able to learn from the first round and take advantage here in round number 2, dishing out the damage indeed to Zach Flessas. So a lot of good stuff from Alexander in the second round, making his debut. And I'm sure Rodney making his corner proud as he took some of their advice in the corner and utilized it in the second round. All right. Third and final round, I think we're probably all in agreement, a very even fight now so far, as I would guesstimate Alexander took that second round.
Yeah, now we're going to see if Zach can keep this space, keep utilizing his stand-up. He can't be too eager or rush in. As you said before, I'm having a 1-1 right now on the scorecards. There's no need to press forward too much and risk getting taken down again and having yourself be control the whole round.
Yeah, you talked about having space. When he does have space, he's landing shots. And it seems like when they get in close, and so far, Alexander had the better of him, especially in the second round, and he goes for a takedown again and gets it.
Good experienced corner people in both sides of this fight, and so you would think coming out of each corner, they told Zach, stay off your back. They told Rodney, stay on top. And so really where it's going right now is exactly where the Chosen Few guys want it to. Zach's not going to win the fight on his back. We've already seen, maybe I might be wrong here.
He's threatening.
I almost had the armbar.
Now, it's a little humid in here, real sweaty, so that could have something to do with slipping out there. But still, Zach was able to at least put Rodney in some trouble, although Rodney seems to be better in a side control than he does in the guard position here.
Correct, and we saw Zach there. He did stuff the initial takedown and then went for a guillotine choke, kind of giving up his back there, where I think it would have been smarter to use the threat of the submission, not to necessarily try and finish, but to get your legs up and under you and get back up.
Chris, you mentioned it's a little humid in here. It's swampy tonight. It's just a strange night outside. It's definitely affected the air inside. It's hot.
Now, the nice thing is there's an actual canvas there, so it's not going to stay as slick. There's not going to be any condensation that sits on top like with some of those cheapy canvases you see in some fights. So that'll help out a little bit, but the fighters are still really sweaty, so a lot of those subs, if you're not tight on them, you're going to slip right out.
Yeah, that definitely makes a big difference. And here we see Rodney let Zach up. I would not have advised that. Now we see Zach mounting more offense. And now right here, don't jump for that guillotine. You got to stay on your feet if you're Flessas. Keep a little more space and use your hands.
Flessas just missed a big kick there. Did land a couple of combos on Rodney as he is scoring this round. And Rodney now going to work to try to get Flessas back on his back, but Flessas having a better third round. It looks more like the first round.
Yeah, I've seen Zach get himself into trouble here a couple times, missing these kicks. If I'm in his corner, I'm telling him just to utilize his boxing, land the hands. If the kick's wide open, take it, but otherwise we're having plenty of success using your boxing here, maybe even push off, get to the center of the cage, control the space, and make Rodney come to you because you know he wants to take down.
We're just about, final 10 seconds.
Rodney needs a takedown here to try to go for a finish if he wants to steal this round.
He is going to need it instead. Flessas landing right hands, driving Alexander back, and that's going to do it. Seemed like a pretty good third round for Zach Flessas.
I'll tell you what, I know these Wisconsin judges, and without that last 20 seconds from Flessas, he loses the fight. But that last little flurry up against the cage on both sides, that's going to win him that fight. I think they're going to score it 29-28 for Flessas, but Wisconsin judges love takedowns. They love top control. I think it was actually Rodney's fight until that last 20.
Last 20. Wow, we will come back and see if that prediction holds true. Chris Garrity will give us the official call. Coming up next, Alexander and Flessas, a good one, here on 57 Sports. All right, let's take a look at the replays from round number 3 as Alexander dominated so much in the second round, but in the third round it seemed like Flessas was the one that inflicted most of the damage.
Yeah, you know, you saw Rodney come out early, get that takedown and get on top, but Zach found his way to his feet when Rodney let him up. It was probably a mistake on his part, and then Zach just opened up with the striking and had a couple good flurries at the end.
Yeah, some good combinations. Missed on a kick there, allowed Rodney to get back inside, but Flessas was able to gain space once again and get a flurry of shots in on Alexander right before the final horn. So we got ourselves a decision going to it, and Chris Garrity is going to be heading up there right now. So let's hear what Mr. Garrity has to say, as this was a pretty even fight. We'll see how the judges scored this one.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, before we get to an official decision, let's give one more round of applause for a great fight. After 3 rounds of featherweight action, we go to the judges' scorecards. Judge Janasek has it 29-28 Flessas, while both Judge Wickers and Sabatis have it 28-28. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a majority draw.